So, welcome everybody. I'm Cindy Myers of yourenergyhealer.com. And tonight we're going to have a webinar and a little talk on being burned out, overwhelmed, stressed out, and what that all can do to us and what maybe we can do about it. Because I don't think I know anybody who hasn't experienced that at some point in their life. And I think a whole lot of people are experiencing it right now, as a matter of fact. So that's our topic for tonight. But before we get going, if you're having a medical emergency, please call your doctor at 911. But what I can do for you is provide energy support that will allow your natural healing abilities to get to where it needs to go, and also just kind of help keep you calm and grounded until you can get to help that you need. So that is what I can do if you are in an emergency situation. All right, so let's talk about burnout, stressed out, overwhelmed, and a lot of times they happen all at the same time. They go along like peanut butter and jelly, I guess. These emotions are just uh when we tend to be more empaths and the caregivers, and most of you that come to my webinars and are my clients, you tend to be very good empathic type people and wonderful caregivers and taking care of everybody else's needs. And you are last on the list of being tended to. And so that is normal for us more empathic people because we are trained from a very young age when we're wired that way to take care of everybody else. And we definitely tend to be last on the list. And we haven't learned the skill of receiving and how to uh, fill up our own tanks because we're too busy taking care of everybody else. Yet to do so, to be a really good caregiver, it is so vital and very important to take care of yourself. That is how to avoid burnout. And I know this for a fact because I did experience burnout. And we use that word kind of loosely and flippantly quite often. But let me tell you, when it happens, it's no joking matter. Um, Going back into my history a little bit, I worked as an engineer for the Navy for almost 20 years, and I was working full time while I uh, went back to school for a master's in counseling. And I was seeing clients at the same time while I was trying to gather up the hours needed to become a marriage family therapist, which I never got licensed because I experienced burnout. And oh, yes, at the same time, I was a caregiver, truly a caregiver for my aging mother that passed away during all this time period as well. So I had three major things going on. And especially towards the end of my mom's life, and her needs were through the roof. I was still doing both jobs. I had finished my master's, but I was still seeing clients and working full time at the base. And so it was like two full-time jobs and a part-time job. And my adrenals got racked. They got overwhelmed. So the physiological aspects of being burned out and stressed out and overwhelmed took a huge toll on me, both mind, body, and spirit. And so it took some time after I got myself out of that situation, or because life happened. Uh, but it took such a toll, and I was not able to go back into to doing any of the jobs because I was too burned out and there was nothing left in my tank. And it took almost a year to refuel. It took such a huge toll. The anxiety, the depression, the emotions were just so extreme. And literally, it took almost a full year for recovery. Uh, and the physiological piece is still there. I have to be extremely mindful of it. So when I got into this business and also my alpaca business, which you can see a picture of one of my younger guys that I had a long time ago, um, I was very mindful. I am very mindful because I love this work so much. I've had to develop a lot of tools in order to not get burned out, that I can still be very good at being an empath and taking care of other people's emotions and being supportive of them. But I also, it is a part of my daily and weekly routine and monthly routine, put myself first and take care of myself and fill that tank back up. So that is incredibly important because I don't want to ever experience that burnout. I love what I do too much to want to have that happen. For one thing. Plus, I just don't want to feel that awful again. So, what can you do when you do feel that? Because it's so easy to get yourself in that overwhelmed state. It's hard to say no to people when they need help and we know we can offer it to them. We empaths again are trained very early to be caregivers. Um, I know people used to tell me their personal very adult problems, even when I was about 4 or 5 years old. I had people telling me and crying as they tell me stories about their kids or their divorces. And I didn't even know what a divorce was at the time, but they would be telling me about these things. And I was just a little tight. So there was something about me that people were drawn to that felt safe and comfortable telling me these things. And I've never uh, uh, thought it was abnormal, to be honest with you. It almost made me chuckle because total strangers would just start telling me everything. And I go, oh, there's Cindy for you. uh, so I didn't take it as a bad thing or a good thing. What I didn't understand was how much, when I listened to that, how draining it could be with some people. And that's where we get the burnout. Is there's a lot of energy vampires out there, whether they're family or coworkers or just total strangers. They are drawn to us, and so we have to be very mindful about people that are more energy vampires, because that is extra exhausting than other people that are doing their own work and just need support. So there is a difference between some folks and their energy. So if you're trying to take a look, one of the best advice I got was in this training program I was in while I was still actually working at the base. And it was a wonderful program, but was one instructor asked it um, to kind of look at our relationships and both family, personal friendships, and colleagues. And she asked how many of these people would you classify as energy vampires or what she termed as eagles. And the difference between them as eagles are ones that um, help you to uh, fly high. They support you. They lift you up. They help give you perspective. They're supportive of you, so they don't drain you. The energy vampires are just suck the life out of you. So yeah, I think the difference. You're probably very aware of the energy vampires. I bet most of you know exactly what I'm talking about and who I'm talking about. So knowing the difference is really important because we need to have tools to deal with the energy vampires. And hopefully we can try and reduce the number of energy vampires that just class kind of categorizing the two types of people that we can surround ourselves. And I realized back then, I went, oh my goodness, it's like 99% of the people I'm around are energy vampires. No wonder I'm exhausted all the time. So I intentionally started making some changes in some of my relationships and how much time I was willing to offer the energy vampires. And really sought out people that made me actually that were more the eagles. And actually, most of my clients are eagles as well. There are very few of the energy vampires. So it's important to understand that. And so be as you become more conscious of who you're around and what you're doing, it as you become more aware, then you can manage things a little bit different. So you're not so exhausted just being around different humans. So here's some other things that you can do. So we want to learn some skills to protect yourself, which can mitigate some of the bad side effects of being an empath and the caregiver. We want to keep you from getting to that tank is empty. You know that saying, the cup is half empty or half full. How do you see yourself? Well, I actually don't care for that one. I like to keep my cup full, because if I start off with half full, uh, when I get really stressed out, that's why I got so burnt out, because it was at half full, and after so many other things, I got to empty, and it took that again a year of just really having the most simple life you could ever have. I was fortunate that I could do that. But it took a year of just really doing only self care and not taking care of anybody but myself and my two dogs for me to kind of get myself back on track. So we don't want to start at halfway. We want to keep that cup nice and full so that when life happens and we got to do go into caregiving mode, or life does get overwhelming, we only want it to go down to half. So so we want to also grow your intuition so you can tell the difference, because there's probably some things that you can let go of. And that's really key too. What things, when you're in that overwhelmed and stressed out state, we tend to think that we have to do everything. When life is going good, we have a lot of big things on our to-do list, and we can accomplish it because we're all, go-getters and achievers, and we want to get stuff done. But when we get into that overwhelmed, stressed out state, trying to keep up with that huge list is pretty much impossible. There's not enough energy to get through all that and take care of other people's needs and try again. That's why you're last on the list. And by the time you get there, you're just too tired to get to yourself. So it's really important then to look at what is on that list and think, you know what, I can let go of a couple things and not do those things. Give yourself permission to let a couple things slip off that to-do list, or do it the next day or a week later, whatever it might be. There's probably some things that do not have to be addressed this second that you normally would be able to do. But when you're in that state, give yourself a break and permission to let a few things slide off of your to do list, or delegate it. Find somebody else that could do them even better. So, and the other thing is, I constantly am continuously looking for things to do for myself to add into my energy toolbox. So I have my normal routine of putting my protection around myself. I use the Pat Longo Strong Ground Shield regularly. I have energy protection that when I go into the public, I like to send in advance the high frequency emotions, lover above, ahead of myself. That's a great tool to flood the area before I even get there. So it's positive energy before I get there, and it tends to get rid of those energy vampires before you even get there. So that's one of the best tools, is just to flood wherever you're going ahead of time. Visualize it, just sending that lovely, beautiful white light and that love and above energy ahead of yourself. And it tends to, again, get rid of the negative Nellies out of there before you even arrive. Uh, so those are a couple tool things that I use all the time for myself. But then there's other things that I constantly adding into my toolbox. Well, I love animals, so I intentionally spend time with my animals. They're my anti-anxiety and antidepressant medicine. I don't take medication myself, but those are the ones that I do, because it puts those calming and happy chemicals into my body. It's better than taking those to me and personally, it helps. It sends those chemicals in throughout my body, the joy and happiness. They make me smile. They make me laugh. They make me feel good. I feel their love, and by intentionally taking 2 to 5 minutes and sitting and petting them, playing with them, just being around them with my alpacas, those are truly my antidepressant and anti-anxiety medications, and it's powerful stuff. So by intentionally closing off the world for a few minutes and just spending time with them helps to counter that anxiety and stress that might be going on in my life. Those are that is probably my number one. I used to joke, I didn't do, when I was in that overwhelmed state myself, I joked that I didn't do drugs, I did dogs. And that I truly was. As long as I knew I could laugh and smile, at one point during that day, I knew I'd be okay. And so it was enough not only to keep me uh, status quo, it gave me a little bit uh, of of positive energy that it started to rebuild. Like I said, it took a year for me to heal, and by doing the dogs, their lovely energy was a nice antidote, and it just took time to rebuild. But that's truly what I did was spend time with my dogs. So here's some other tips. So again, learning to intuitively be with your animals, enjoy their energy. They love to give you this beautiful energy. w- Accepting it, spending time with it, spending intentional time with them is really a valuable thing. If you have animals, spend time with them and just really soak it up. Turn everything off. Don't watch TV and mindlessly petting your dog or your cat or whatever animal you might have. Really focus and just be one with them. Let those chemicals flow through your body. Um, and practice being vulnerable with others and asking them for help. Learn how, learn how to receive. That's one thing we empaths tend not to do very well, is because we are trained to always give to everybody else. We forget that we deserve to receive as well. So it's important that we have to train ourselves that it's truly okay to receive uh, support and love from others. And also, I find that I'm constantly looking on more tools and how to ground myself, because when we're stressed out and all that, we're not very well grounded. So, trying to hear anything intuitive coming in, any messages of guidance from source, can't hear it because we're not grounded. So, and we're in our fight or flight lizard brain. So, important just to really ground yourself. And so the meditations, going to the healing circles, those are another things for you to do regularly. And that's why I offer them by a tip only, so that people have a place to come regularly to get that guided meditation. Because sometimes when you're so stressed out, you can't quiet lizard brain down. So having somebody support you doing that, that's why we have these healing circles for you. And we work very hard on grounding, on the grounding piece, as those of you have been on regularly with me know very well that we do a lot about grounding. All right, so and here we're talking about love or above. I wanted to show you this chart. So many of you have seen it before, but anybody new, this is what you want to see when I talk about love or above. It's that green line and going up higher. That's what you want to picture when you go out in public, or you're about to see somebody that's um, a challenge. You want to flood ahead of yourself that love or above energy, and hopefully that kind of pushes them out of your way before you even get there. And also, when we do the healing circle, if you stay on, that's what I want you to do to tune yourselves. Is when you're doing your breathing, I want you to add in uh, the lover above. So pick love, joy, peace, and calm. Uh, Gratitude. Gratitude's not in there, but it's very high frequency. It's up there near peace and calm. So so you want to add in one of those, like a mantra word, as you breathe, and your body, then your master chef in your brain releases those chemicals. into your body that is very calming. These high frequencies are very, very calming. So they quiet down the lizard brain, the adrenaline, and it triggers the parasympathetic system, which is your calming system. So spend at least 2 minutes breathing fully, slow your breathing down, and adding in that love or above energy in, into your breath. And that will help calm your self down, and you can get into your cognitive, higher thinking brain by doing so. Uh, so, uh, and for you, those of you that are healers or caregivers, or find yourself being ones that are always giving to others, and you're last on the list, I'm starting a new group. It starts tomorrow. I'm calling it, for the moment at least, Heal the Healers. And even if you're not an intuitive like myself, if you find yourself a caregiver, if you run your own business, or even if you're working for others, but you're just in that overwhelmed, stressed out state a lot, this group is for you. We're going to have exercises and things to add into your toolkit. Um, and it's going to be every fourth Thursday of the month. So tomorrow is our first session. So will be the initial one. And so there's still time to register for it. It does have a fee of $30, but and a number of you have signed up for it. So we're really looking forward to starting this important group to help you all. And it's also about building a community, so that we have those eagles again, because many of us, if you were like me, that had 99% of that surround us are energy vampires. We need to build a community of those eagles. And so this will be one of those places that you could come and surround yourself with eagles that will be very supportive of helping you through the overwhelmed state. All right. So, and the other things going on, this Saturday will be a healing circle at noon Pacific time. And then next Wednesday will be another healing circle. And then again, tomorrow will be the new group, and that's at 11 a.m. Pacific time. And try to get it around lunchtime for folks. And we're going to try and keep it right at no longer than an hour, because I know a lot of people are busy during the day. But we want to give you some time to just, again, let's fill up your tank, give you some time, and we'll guide you through some nice exercises on how to support you through that. Okay. All righty. So with that, I'm going to exit out of that. I see somebody. Uh, Kathy Sweet asked, "Did I say energy vampires?" I sure did. I said it a number of times. Energy vampires are ones that suck the life out of you, and you know the type of people that are just very draining. Uh, they don't give back. They feel good after being with us, but we're exhausted. So if you're around somebody that needs a lot of emotional support, and it's not the I do this work, and there's such a difference from people that are truly trying to understand things for themselves. They're not energy vampires. Just because you're in a strong emotional state does not mean you're an energy vampire. Energy vampires are ones that don't look in the mirror, that aren't trying to help themselves. They're just want somebody else to help them feel better. They don't want to do the work themselves. Those are energy vampires. They just take everything from you so that they feel good momentarily, but and then we feel exhausted and drained. And it's rare. Again, I have very few clients like that, because I've created an avatar and said, nope, 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 nope. I want to help people that want to help themselves, and they just need guidance and mentoring and tools to do stuff, and emotions cleared. But it's different than, you know, people that just don't want to do anything for themselves. So does that make sense what the difference is? You have any other questions about that? Because it's really important, that piece of knowing the differences between the two types of folks. Not everybody is the same in that area. So good question, though. Thank you for asking. All right, so now's the time. If anybody would like a demo of a reading or clear some trapped emotions, we didn't really talk about trapped emotions in the webinar. But that's what happens when we are overburdened and stressed out is we get a ton of stress emotions, and it can be all sorts of them. But it's like there's a threshold that we can tolerate. Emotions are just, again, chemicals that our body creates to express a thought or an experience that we've had or a memory. But we're constantly having every word, every thought creates these chemicals that flow through our body, and we have to burn these chemicals off in a day, just like food calories. We've got to burn these chemicals off, and if we can't, then they get stuck in our tissues. Just like if we can't burn off the calories because we ate too many calories and too much food in a day, then those calories get stuck in our body, right? So emotions work very similarly in that if we can't burn off those emotional calories, then those emotions get stuck in our body. And we can tolerate so much, and there's like this threshold that we can tolerate so many emotions that are built up, but after, if we exceed that threshold, and that's what happens with burnout, is not only do we not just kind of get it over, but we're way over. We're so over that even when we do a little self-care, we don't even get close to that threshold. That's where I was at with burnout. I was over the top, over that threshold. And so even just doing a little fun thing, this wasn't even making a dent because the stress was so constant and so intense. There was just no way. I was sick every single night while I was in that extremely stressed out state. I was nauseous and sick every single night because I could not process all those s- adrenaline chemicals anymore. I was up here. Talk about being up to here. I was truly up to here in emotions. So getting rid of those emotions is part of it. We want to get rid of those trapped emotions. We want to get you in a leveled state. That's where the breathing, adding in on your own, using those tools, getting that breath work and adding in that level above energy, that helps bring those for yourself, helps you process out those emotions that you have in the day so you can try and keep it in more balance. And then getting rid of the trapped emotions, we can get rid of and try and get you down into below. Our goal is to get you below the threshold, and not just a little bit, but way below, so that you can handle some stress. That's our ultimate goal. And then we can tolerate, a harder life situation because we've got that padding. But if we're right there, again, that's that cup half full. If we're half full, you're right at threshold, really. And so anything else, whoop, you're right over the top. So we want to take care of that. So Gail said she would like some clearing. All right. So let's see what we can help Gail with. And then if anybody else would like some, you can put it in the chat box. And you might want to unmute yourself, Gail, so I can get
Yep.
some feedback as they're going.
Sure.
Oh, the your back is not happy, is it?
Right.
Oh, sorry. Let's see if we can help a little. Oh boy, still some frustration. Oh, and your neck too. Way
Yep.
discouragement. Clearing that. Overwhelm. Clearing that. Frustration. Clearing that. Unsupported. Clearing that. Stubbornness. Clearing that. Okay, so oh, your neck is going better to the right, I think. Try that.
Yeah, much better. Much better.
Um, peeved, clearing that. Okay, that now to the left is better.
Yes. Nice little crack.
Okay, good.
Yep. Full range.
It,
Thank you.
still a little bit in the back. Uh,
Yeah.
uh, 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 uh. Some
Right
nervousness.
side.
Nervousness. Wait a minute. And another overwhelm. Clear that. Mm, mm. Creative insecurity. Clear that. So we'll work some more on that in a healing circle. But did it knock down because the back still feels really jammed up a little bit. So
Yeah, I think you're right on there, but I definitely improvement in the neck. I've got more rotation and um definitely felt the releases.
okay. So yeah, the guides and I will do some more during the healing circle for you and
Thank
see
you.
if we can't get that a little more not getting a good flow. It feels like it's when we are in the meditation and you're clearing stuff, uh second chakra and third is where I'm feeling it really blocked.
That
So
makes sense. Yep.
so so breathe in that I would tune to I'm just listening. Uh
Mm,
peace,
yep.
oh no. Kindness. Yes. Kindness. Into kindness.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's see. Holly. All right. You're up, Holly. Hi, Holly. Welcome. Oh, I can't hear you. Are you there? Well, what we can do is use the chat box if you can't get the microphone part working. Your volume may be down, but uh, is it showing that you're unmuted? But now I can't see you. That's okay. We can put it in the chat box if there's something. Is there something in particular you want me to work on? Yeah, can you hear me? I can't hear you, but can you hear me? Oh, gee. Hi, Holly. Can you hear me? I don't know what's going on there. Try and let me check. I guess I'll have to check. I'll put it in the chat. Uh, or here, I'll mute all. Let me mute. Okay. Can you hear me now? Hi, Holly. Can you hear me? Oh, no. I can't turn on your volume. Try again. Hello? Hello? Okay. Put it in the chat. Can you read the chat box? Chat. Can you put it in the chat box? Okay. Sorry. All right. Anybody else? Uh, anybody else? All right. Well, I'm going to stop the recording.